Welcome back to our recap of the Harry Dresden novels.
Yay!
Hey, this is part two. Part two.
And part two actually begins with arguably my favorite. I don't think it's the best, but I think it's my favorite in the series.
This is definitely the one I come back to just enjoy and laugh because
It's so weird.
It's so awesome. Quick little backstory note. This is also Jim Butcher's. Did you show it? I don't remember.
Nah, we are on
This
Deadbeat.
was, this is Deadbeat. So this was Jim Butcher's first foray into hardback publishing. Beforehand, all of the 6 books we've gone through have been just paperbacks. So, this is going to open a totally new market to the author, which is great and awesome. So he takes a little bit of time to step back and go, people are probably going to read this book who haven't read my previous ones, so he takes some time to just step back and explain the world that he's built, and also just go through some very basic things of having a human sidekick, which is medical examiner Waldo Butters, just kind of be Harry's foil and go, how does this work? That doesn't make sense. Magic? Eh? No! Ooh, there's weird stuff out there. Okay.
Let's see. Deadbeat.
Necromancers.
Necromancers. It's
Bad
Halloween,
magic.
which is Harry's birthday.
And that's also when the veil between the hereafter, or which is called the never nether, which is more of like your spiritual, funky world, where all the spooky stuff lives, basically, and the mortal world, which is where we live, kind of, that's the easiest time for stuff to pass through the veil, basically.
So, Deadbeat. Dresden finds out that there are 3 necromancers in Chicago, and they're going to try and ascend to godhood.
Basically, by using the Book of Kemmler. Kemmler was a really bad, big-ass warlock who was hunted by the White Council, and I think finally put down in the beginning of World War II, so that's a little bit...
End of World War II.
End of World War II.
50s, I think.
I was in the middle of it, but anyway.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Bad dude. Anyone who would reanimate the dead to live to his own will to do his bidding is not going to be your nice guy. No. So, but they found the word of Kemmler, basically, which is just
the how-to manual.
Which is the how-to manual to bring about the apocalypse to ascend to your godhood. Harry has to find the book first.
Important things in this book. We meet Lachelle.
Yes.
So if we go back a couple books and remember our friends, the Knights of the Black Denarian,
led by Nicodemus, the head archleon.
The demons are possessed in the silver coins themselves. Harry he intentionally grabs a coin to prevent Michael's
youngest son, Harry, from picking it up and being possessed. Because, a toddler being possessed by one of those things, that's all kinds of bad shit's going to happen.
And this was a couple books ago, so it happened and then nothing.
He buried it.
Throughout this book, we discover that the demon has been living in his brain and has been trying to talk with him.
And bring him over to the dark side by offering power.
Yes, a little. But because Harry's constantly doing stupid shit, it turns very much more into a, you're going to die. Let me help you not die.
Yeah.
So that eventually, I can summon you to darkness, but really, I need you to not die.
Yeah, because he's basically the spirit's host at the moment.
We meet... Harry's made a warden.
Harry is kind of dragooned into the warden, so Harry's always kind of been on the slightly or shady side of the wardens, just because basically he did kill his mentor Justin, who was trying to turn him into a warlock and abuse and all that good stuff that was following along. So he's kind of been under their eye the whole time, but then suddenly to turn the tables, it's like, yeah, we kind of need you. So Anastasia Lucio is introduced. She is the head of the wardens. Pretty cool, badass wizardess, if I might say. She's pretty awesome. So we're getting to deal a little bit more with Morgan, who is the warden who really just wants to put Harry away for good, chop his head off, and be done with him. And then we are introduced to one of my favorite secondary characters, which is when Harry has to use some necromancy for good, and because he's not using necromancy against a human, he's technically not breaking the rules of magic. So, any of y'all have been to the Natural History Museum of Chicago, which I have not yet been to because they aren't open. Thank you, coronavirus. We get to meet Sue. Sue is the the giant Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton that is in the Chicago History Museum. I think you can imagine what comes next. It's awesome.
Proven guilty.
Yeah.
So if we go back to Michael, Knight of the Cross, Michael has a daughter named Molly.
Yes.
Turns out Molly is able to use magic, and it ends up using magic to mess with people's minds. Good intentions, very bad repercussions.
Messing with people's minds essentially makes you a warlock, which turns the council onto you, and they basically chop your head off because guilty if you did the black magic.
Harry comes in, says, prevents, basically, I'm saying this horribly.
That's okay.
Fixes as best he can everything Molly has done, goes to the White Council and says, that young lady, she is going to be my apprentice.
Basically, if anything Molly continues to do is bad, he's going to take the fall with Molly and die along with her. He's doing this because Michael is his friend and because Molly is not past redemption. So, yay! There's that book in the
Proven
nutshell.
guilty.
Yeah, proven guilty. Okay.
White Knight.
Dun, dun, dun.
More White Court shenanigans.
Yeah. Having to help out the vampires with Thomas.
Yep.
What else is coming up with this?
The Paranet.
Paranet, yeah.
So you've got the White Council, which is all humans that can use magic, but in order to get into the White Council, it's the equivalent of, if the White Council is professional sports, and everyone else that plays sports, they're it's like, okay, you can play the sport, but you're not good enough to get that, so we don't care about you.
Yeah. So
the Paranet is something that Harry devises so basically the guppies can band together and scare the sharks away.
It's basically all your people with your latent magical talents, like, for instance, like your Wiccans, the people who can be palm readers or empaths and such, who have a little bit of that magic spark in them, but not big enough to set things in motion like Harry does.
Yep.
So, yeah, basically it's a look out for your buddy and we've got your back. Cool. I don't even know what number we're on net, but...
Small favor.
Small favor.
What do we got?
Ooh,
Yeah.
the Red Court. Yeah, so the Red Court, if you remember, are our the next step up in the vampire bad guy level. They are the ones who do suck blood, etc., turn people into other vampires. So...
I'm trying to remember. Oh, I feel bad.
I read these about once a year.
Little Chicago. Is this the Denarians?
So I think there might be some in there.
Yes! Okay, so...
Is this Mavra?
No,
Okay.
this isn't Mavra.
Okay.
This is, the island.
Yeah, so we are introduced to the island Demon Reach, which is an island out in the middle of Lake Michigan, which basically has such a bad feeling about it that planes don't fly over it. People navigate far away from it. They don't understand that it's out there just because you get such that bad feeling at the back of your neck, you want to leave it away.
Yep.
So,
Ivy, a character that we were introduced to prior to this,
I
but
forgot about Ivy.
Ivy is the repository of all knowledge in
Written human history.
If it's been written down, Ivy knows it.
Yep.
Ivy
She's
is
the archive.
Yep. Ivy is kidnapped by the Denarians along with Marcone. They begin torturing them in the hopes that they will pick up a coin because all of human knowledge, fallen angel, bad things happen.
Pretty big thing if they can get her to
Harry calls in the cavalry and proceeds to rescue them after a couple of failed attempts. Harry and Lucio hook up in this book.
Right.
What else? The Demon Reach you mentioned.
You get out to the island,
Yep.
which is inhabited. The island is inhabited by a genus Loki, which is basically your spirit that is part of the island.
The Billy Goat's Gruff.
The Billy Goat's Gruff come into play. Yes! Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about Elder Gruff. So yeah, somebody in the she side of Fairy is a little pissed off at Harry.
Titania
is Doug because he killed her daughter. So she keeps sending the next Billy Goat Gruff after him, and these Billy Goats keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and harder for Harry to put down. So
it's fun.
a donut ends this book. I'll leave it at that.
Alrighty. We're 10 minutes into this one. Do we pause and then do a part
Yeah,
three?
we'll take a quick break and we'll come back with part 3, which should wrap us up the rest of the way.
Woohoo!